out there with your well, he was standing out there when I.
Oh, he was? Oh, so they're open?
Okay, I have 7 o'clock. We're going to start the meeting. We're going to start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, bless this meeting and the work we do together. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, respect in our conversations, and success in our efforts. Help us serve others with integrity and purpose. Amen.
Tracy Day. Here. Tim Brown. Here. Carol Cole. Julie Edwards. Chrissy Grant. Here. Jeff Gray.
Here.
Clay Hardy. Here. Heath McCormick. Christine Matlock. Here. Tad Mayhall. James Mitchell.
Here.
Tim Morse.
Here.
Austin Pritchard. John Stroll.
Here.
Larry Seifert.
Here.
Don Tate. Chrissy Wofford. Here. Brent Wallace.
Here.
Judy Wood. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting. Judy. Jeff's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public body comments. Before we get started on this, I want everybody to know we've got a big agenda tonight, and Pat's not able to be here, so we will get through this, so just please be patient. Okay, I've got Matt. Is that over, Beth?
Yes.
Okay, we have a rule about public body comment. It is just a comment. We don't respond to it, and you have 5 minutes is what you have. Okay, go.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to express some concerns over the junkyard special permit application. I know this matter was postponed from being voted on tonight, but I just wanted to express my concerns in case I couldn't make it to the next meeting. My name is Matt Overbeck, and my wife and I own the property that joins the whole north property line of the junkyard. We purchased our home in 2022, and at the time it was not an operational junkyard, which if it would have, we never would have purchased our property. The reason for this is the noise, the extra traffic, and the main concern of hurting our property value if we were to ever resell and move. I've looked into multiple articles online, and businesses such as a junkyard are very likely to hurt the resale value of our property and neighboring properties. We bought our house for its location, how quiet the area is, and all of our neighbors and how respectful they are to one another. And it has grown into a residential area where many new people have moved into and built houses over the past several years since the junkyard had previously closed. With this being said, I do not feel like it is a good location to be reopened. Another concern I have with the proposed junkyard is just being used on the south property half. At the last zoning board meeting, Mr. Bloxham said he was still going to use the gate, which is on the north half, the scale house, which is on the north half, and park his personal vehicles, which is on the north half, which is still within the 300 foot of a residential area and does not meet the ordinance. In my personal opinion, these 3 actions are still for junkyard use. Another concern I have is after the last zoning board meeting, it was made very clear that no more junkyard operations were to take place, and this has not been the case. There have been many vehicles hauled into the property and scrap metal on several different occasions. This has continued to happen as recently as yesterday when I went home for lunch and a trailer full of old boats was pulled into the property. I feel like this shows that if it were to pass, the rules that are put into place will not be followed as they have not been to this point. Thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Hannah.
Hello, I'm Hannah Overbeck. This is going to reiterate some my husband shared, but in similar fashion, should we not be able to make it to the next one, I would like you guys to hear our concerns moving forward. So good evening. I apologize. I'm going to be reading from my phone just so I make sure I hit points and I'm not speaking from the heart or a place of frustration. This will be the same message that was recently read at the zoning board meeting, and I do apologize for that as well. I truly have nothing against Mr. Bloxham, and I have nothing against the business that he is wanting to run, but my husband and I did our due diligence when buying land. While looking at multiple houses, we knew we wanted a quiet place to return home to each day and for us to spend our time home. Our neighborhood should not suffer because he did not do his due diligence. Though I understand that the junkyard has been moved to only part of the land he purchased, there is little reason to believe it will be used appropriately, as it has been used before it even truly had permission to open. And my observation is when I got home from school today, that he was using it as early as just this evening, hauling junk to and from. I hope that is something that's taken heavily into consideration. The majority of our neighbors in this now residential area have lived here long after the junkyard has closed, and under the bylines that it was not going to reopen. In this instance, the past is brought up often for justification of reopening, but I think it's highly important we now consider what the area looks like presently. If that was the case, I speak for my husband and I when I say, once again, we would have never purchased our property. We live in a community with wonderful, quiet neighbors, many of whom are retired, soon to be retired, and those who are home more than the average person. I wish for us not to be subjected to the noise, even with ordinances in place, the unsightliness, and the remainder of concerns that have already been addressed at the previous 3 meetings. I also understand that he was not trying to upset anyone, and while I do deeply believe that, I would like to think someone would not put something in our backyard or our front yards for some of us that they wouldn't like in their own. And I believe this would stand true for many of the community members here this evening. Farmers who use the road, despite the no semi signs posted, have been brought up multiple times, which I understand as I am personally married to a farmer, and they are down the roads 2 times a year, planting and harvest. That pales in comparison to daily prohibited use. The improper use of this road has been brought up multiple times by Mr. Bloxham in order to justify his own use. But that's where integrity comes in, and law-abiding citizens are trusted to be the example. I do believe it is most likely a community need. However, I disagree that this is the prime location for it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, public body comment? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Martha Ferdieber. I'd like to speak to the agenda items 18, 19, and 20 and the salary setting resolutions for the next 4 years for the county clerk, county assessor, and county treasurer positions. I wanted to share some concerns and perspectives in advance in hopes the board will address these points thoroughly during the discussion of these agenda items. Currently, it is being proposed that both the clerk and assessor positions receive annual pay raises over the next 4 years, while the treasurer's position salary remains frozen at its current rate. This is a significant departure from the long-standing practice of treating these 3 positions equitably with respect to compensation and increases. When the discussion comes up, I hope the board will explain why the clerk and assessor's positions are considered deserving of annual pay raises, yet the treasurer's position is not. If the rationale is that the clerk's office took over payroll duties from the treasurer, it's important to remember that state statute mandates payroll responsibilities belong to the clerk's department. The treasurer previously performed these tasks without additional compensation, so it's unclear why the reverse would now warrant a pay increase. Moreover, what additional duties has the assessor's position taken on to justify an increase, if any? If none, the assessor's position is receiving an annual pay raise based solely on cost of living adjustment. Shouldn't the treasurer receive the same? It only seems fair that the treasurer's position also receives an inflationary adjustment. Some have argued the treasurer ought to be a certified CPA. If this is the expectation, it seems counterintuitive to freeze the treasurer's salary at a rate that would deter qualified CPAs from considering the position. By the end of the 4-year resolution, as currently presented, the clerk and assessor positions will earn over $10,000 more than the treasurer's position. The pay gap may discourage capable candidates from running for an office that appears to be unfairly and blatantly disadvantaged. With recent union contracts granting county employees somewhere between 17 and 20% pay increases, and all other elected positions receiving scheduled pay raises, it's crucial for the board to explain publicly why the treasurer's position is singled out for a freeze. Would any of you accept a role knowing you would not receive a raise, even to offset inflation, for 5 years, especially when your peers are compensated more generously? I suspect not. My hope is that the board will let common sense, fairness, and decency guide tonight's decision. I urge someone to make a motion to amend the compensation setting resolution for the county treasurer to match those of the clerk and assessor positions, as has been the historical norm in our county. I also hope there will be support for this motion and a unanimous vote to confirm equitable treatment for all 3 positions. I'd also like to ask, since these resolutions were brought forth from the Budget Audit and Legislative Committee, that you would please let the public know who the members of that committee are. Thank you.
Public body comment?
Erica Fernhaber, taxpayer of Shelby County. On December 19, 2024, a contract was signed with Performance Services in the amount of $536,863. This obligation should have been accounted for in the fiscal year 25 budget. However, no payments were made to Performance Services in fiscal year 25. And the board also failed to include this contractual obligation in the fiscal year 26 budget. The line item currently being discussed was budgeted at only $90,000 despite the existence of a signed contract totaling $536,863. Now the board is considering amending the budget to increase this amount to $837,863. Taxpayers deserve an explanation for why this increase is necessary and how this discrepancy occurred. Additionally, how much was paid to Sickich for budget preparation services? And were they provided with complete and accurate information regarding this contractual obligation? Effective financial guidance depends on full transparency and accurate reporting. Fiscal year 26 budget was already passed with a deficit of $1.556598, over $1.5 million deficit budget. Adding another $783,863 would increase the deficit to approximately $2,340,461. This level of deficit spending is unsustainable and could significantly deplete the general fund within the next few years. We would also like clarification regarding the board's statutory authority to amend the budget in this manner and further increase the deficit. This situation does not appear to be the result of an unforeseen emergency, but rather a failure in financial planning and oversight. As taxpayers, we strongly oppose this amendment and urge the board to identify meaningful costs, reductions, and implement stronger financial accountability moving forward. And today I went through the budget, and just out of the 029 office alone, I identified probably around little over $455,000 that wouldn't have to be spent and probably won't be spent, just in that line item, or that office. Last year, the fiscal year 25 budget, only 81% was spent, but yet then the budget was increased by hundreds of thousands. It does no good to set a budget, and so what if we spend only 80%? It just means we didn't do our job. The job wasn't done to budget effectively. But I think there needs to be strong consideration, and I'm not sure that you can legally increase the deficit budget. So please consider that strongly and look at the budget closely. Thank you.
Public body comment?
Thank you. My name's Kirk Allen. Sorry the chairman's not here tonight. because once again, he's ignored a FOIA request, failed to produce the emails, the private emails that he's conducting public business on. Mrs. Cole, you also have not provided all of those emails. Ms. Woolry, you as well have not produced all of the emails, the private emails where you're conducting public business. Can any of you explain to the public the purpose in using your private emails for public business rather than the ones provided by the public body? Claiming to be transparent when you fail to provide known records tells a different story. A FOIA request April 16th for a copy of all work products submitted to the state of Illinois by the person handling PCOM, I was told the request was unduly burdensome. That's pretty special in light of the reason Effingham appears to be set to take over PCOM. For those that don't know the reason, it's because the person Tad selected for this overpaid job did not do her job. How is my request for work product unduly burdensome when there was no work product? I narrowed the request as the law permits on April 20th, along with an additional request for records that I knew would expose the fraud that's been taking place under your own eyes. 4 days later, she resigns, and my FOIA has still not been answered. Stay tuned for more FOIA lawsuits. Can anyone explain how this woman was allowed to open up a credit card with her name and the county's name on it? A part-time employee accessing unchecked credit? What happened to the credit card ordinance? Another example of not following established directives. Considering she was paid with grant funds and did not do the job, is that not grant fraud? Where was the oversight, Tad? He picked her, literally, and then ignored the problem for months. Has anyone read the budget amendment limitations in the county code? We've been through this before, and the last board actually was the first to follow the law on that point in this county for years. That budget was the contract with the people, and the legislature made it clear violations of the law on this point is in fact a crime. I would encourage all of you to read those statutes and get a legal opinion as to whether or not doing some of the things that it appears you're going to be doing are done properly or done legally. There are violations. It's a Class B misdemeanor. It's spelled out real clear in here. And like I said, the prior board made sure that didn't happen again. And I would hope that you follow the law, all of them, including FOIA and OMA for those that still haven't done their training. That's all I have.
Public body comment? Public body comment? One more time, public body comment. Moving on. Okay, we're going to announce the vacancy in District 7 with the resignation of Tricia Miller. Number 6, announce the vacancy in District 9 due to the resignation of Jean Price. Now we're going to do an appointment of Chad Yanis to Shelby County District 9. I need a motion. Tim and who's behind Christine? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome back, Chad. Jessica's this way.
I state your name.
I, Chad Yanis,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of Shelby County Board District 9
to the Shelby County Board District 9,
in the county of Shelby,
County of Shelby,
state of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and will faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
the office of Shelby County Board District 9
the office and duties of Shelby County
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This one, please.
John? Thank you.
Yes, the proposed amendment updates our county's wind, solar, and energy storage ordinance to comply with new state laws taking effect June 1st, 2026, including changes related to commercial wind, solar facilities, energy storage systems, siting procedures, and the new solar bill of rights. In addition to the required compliance updates, the ordinance has been simplified and reorganized for clarity and ease of use. The draft was reviewed and approved by the state's attorney's office, and feedback submitted by representatives of Linnea and Cordello Power, as well as their legal counsel, was reviewed, with selected recommendations incorporated, modified, and rejected as appropriate. These amendments should be adopted prior to the state's June 1st, 2026 deadline.
I need a motion to approve this.
I'll make it.
John? Christine Faulkner. Is there any discussion on this or any questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye.
Raise your hands, please.
Ones that are opposed? I see three. Yes. Motion passes. Thank you, John. Okay, Michael. Want to go over your things here then? Yeah, go ahead.
Resolution to award low bid for removal and replacement of a bridge over TR 313, section 20.03.118.00BR over Richland Creek in Clarksburg Township to Sea Hill Civil Contractors, Inc. with a bid of $1,208,424 to be paid with LPF grant funds and township bridge funds. And Shelby County Highway Department recommends approval of the low bidder.
Yeah, I need a motion to approve this. Tim, Christine. You all, okay, go ahead and do the rest of them.
Okay.
And we'll do one of
Absolutely. Resolution to review and change permit fees for the purpose of access permits, specifically field culverts. C 50/50 petition from Big Spring Township Highway Commissioner to remove a failing corrugated metal pipe and replace with a 72-inch diameter by 50-foot long corrugated metal pipe. Project location 3100E, 810 North. Project, for the estimated cost of the project, will be $14,224, which will be shared 50/50 between the township and county bridge account. D, no truck or seasonal weight restrictions on 2100E, 2200E, 2325E, south of Illinois 16, County Highway 7 from 2200E to Illinois 32, as well as County Highway 16 from State Highway 16 to County Highway 21. That one I would need one or the other, no trucks or seasonal weight, and I think it was in the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Committee to review no through trucks.
No trucks, is what we talked about.
Yes. So with that, I would entertain any questions regarding any of those four. Yes.
The first one, where exactly is that bridge at? Or I didn't look that one up.
It is west of Hidden Springs. I believe it's kind of close to where the Big Tree Trail is at.
Okay, so is that the one that
It's a
we got the email about saying that the bridge was?
That's a different one.
That's a different
It's close to that one, but
Okay.
it's not that one.
Okay.
So,
But there's one east of the Big Tree Trail, and then there's one that's east and then south on the Clarksburg Road. Is it the one on the Clarksburg Road?
it's a bigger, it's not on the Clarksburg, like our county highway, it's not on it. But it's hard to explain, and it
Yeah, I'll
goes,
look that one up.
yeah, southeast, and
There's a
it's kind of
couple.
big, long, it's a very long wood plank bridge.
Oh, is that, okay, I think I know what that's at. Okay, all right, I think that answered my question. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I got a quick question.
Yes.
On the weight restrictions, why are we planning to put weight restriction or go through trucks on them roads?
It is.
Is it infrastructure?
It is partially due to those, there's a lot of GPSs and cartography and mappers are basically are leading trucks down these roads, and we're trying to limit that. So we're not trying to limit like locals using those roads, farmers using those roads. A lot of these roads are, if they went straight down to 16 and turned down 32, everybody would be better off, but they're leading 80,000-pound loads down an oil and chip road. They're not made for a significant amount of what we're seeing. So just trying to limit that and guide them on better roads for them as well. So.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, roll call vote.
Banks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole? Edwards?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Matlock?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Stroll?
Yes.
Seifert?
Yes.
Wofford? Yes. Wallace?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yanis?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Go ahead.
Okay. Item number 10, discussion and vote to approve a resolution to amend the 2026 fiscal year budget to accept funds from the Illinois Department of Transportation, State of Illinois Local Project Funding Grant, and approved use of township bridge funds for bridge reconstruction. This is just to amend the budget so that we can accept the funds. I reached out to our auditor and they said this is the best practices for this, and we're just taking the recommendation.
Is this grant money then that we're going to be receiving?
And about 1.5 million of it is grant money, yes.
So it'll be flow through money then?
Yes, it is flow through money, zero net funds, so.
Okay, I need a motion. Christine? Prince? Roll call again.
Bang?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Matlock?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Stroll?
Yes.
Seifert?
Yeah.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yanis?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Number 11 is the treasurer. Do you want to speak to this, Erica, since you're on the agenda?
I just ask for discussion and a vote to approve to recode the two performance solution payments from the 06606150560 ARPA project line item to the general fund 00102974300, the courthouse maintenance and repair, and the general fund for the fiscal year 2026. And this would be to complete the action that you voted on last month to recode those ARPA payments. But I cannot complete that until there's an approval for the line item.
Need a motion? Make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Tim. Okay, discussion?
I have a quick question. Why are we having to recode them? Was there not enough funds in the 066 ARPA funds?
No, there was not, and this project was not reported to the federal government as obligated. And what was obligated to the federal government is going to, the rest of the funds are going to be used. The $4.2 million plus is going to be gone. That report has been filed. That report was filed last year. The report was filed in April this year. This project was not obligated to the federal government. It was voted on last month to recode, but I was not given a line item. So I have to have a line item direction to recode because you've already approved to recode it. There's not another option at this point. And I sent out to the full board the budget for ARPA that is sitting at a negative $137,000+. And I can't transfer back from the general fund for what we did recode for all of the other payments that I received line items for the audits and a couple other, the sheriff gave me some and Heather did. I can't move that money out of the general fund back to the ARPA fund so that we have a positive balance until this gets recoded. But you already voted to recode, so there's really not an option.
Okay, So who does the recoding? Have you done that with this that you've written here?
No, I have not done it and will not do it until you vote to recode it to that line item.
Okay.
Because when the auditors ask us, because they constantly asked us, I mean, we have to provide, they'll pick out various reclasses that we've done, and we have to provide the documentation. I don't reclass anything in my office without something in writing from the whoever controls that budget. You know, Heather provided a line item out of her budget. Brian has provided some to reclass because we're not going to spend all the money on the courthouse cleaning.
So I guess my question is, if somebody has a line item, who puts the code on it?
The clerk, the accounts payable. But technically, whoever's controlling that budget does, because they turn in a claim form to the county clerk, so she goes based on, I mean, she can speak to it better than I can. She's the accounts payable.
So it could be the department head that does the coding?
It depends on what budget. Like, when I turn in a claim for my budget, which I'm 001, 004, and then my budget, when I turn in a claim, I have to put the line item, which is always 001, 004, you know, and if it's postage, you know, or if it's office supplies, or if it's payroll, the last five numbers are the same pretty much for each office, because those last 5 numbers dictate. Jessica's line item for office supplies is going to be 001, 002, you know, 7,000. Our last 5 numbers are going to be the same. Ruth's are going to be the same. Debbie's are going to be, it's all the same. So when we turn in claims, I am telling the accounts payable department where to code this claim in the system. Some mistakes can happen. Someone can hit the wrong key and then we need to reclass it. But if it was coded to ARPA and we didn't have the money and it wasn't obligated, you know.
So with the ARPA money, different departments are given specific amounts. So they're the ones that should have made the code. I'm just trying to understand. They would have been the one to create the line item for, let's say, the courthouse. They would have created the line item and would have had the code for that line item.
ARPA had very few codes. There were like 5 or 6, and the ARPA line item projects had the specific 5 digits. There was administrative, which is what we paid Bellwether. There were a couple different payroll line items that had 5 digits. ARPA did not have a lot of line items, but most of then what was done, you know, what was paid out for the tower, what was paid out for the airport, what was paid out for the rescue and dive team equipment, all of those were coded to the ARPA project line item. So that ARPA project line item encompassed a lot. So yes, the airport would have had to have coded it to that. The rescue and dive would have had to have coded it to that. Everybody would have coded it to that. And if they weren't aware of the line item, then, you know, I'm assuming Jessica would have given it to them.
How much money are you talking about, and is there money in that budget to cover the cost?
Well, it's a part of it. I mean, in my opinion, yes, there's money in the budget. It would be coded back to the general fund. Is there enough money in that line item? No, but my understanding of budgets are the overall budget can't go over. You can go over in a single line item as long as the overall budget doesn't go over. Ruth can correct me if I'm wrong. It's the way I read the statute. And we've got plenty of, I mean.
I just want to make sure we're not transferring the problem somewhere else. I mean, if there's money there in that line item you want to transfer to.
There's not money in that particular line item because we only budgeted $90,000. We didn't budget the performance services anywhere that I can see. It wasn't budgeted in ARPA and it wasn't budgeted in the general fund. But again, it was passed in December of '24, but it would have been fiscal year '25, and I don't know if everybody just forgot there was an obligation there. I mean, I don't know because I wasn't consulted on the budget one time. Taxpayers paid sickage, I'm not sure how much money to work on the budget, so I wasn't a part of those conversations.
Does this relate directly really to 13's share
Yes, definitely.
Because it actually, I think Erica just said that it was approved by the board in 1224, but it didn't make it on the list. The $530-some-thousand didn't, and when it didn't make it on the list, it went to the federal government. Then we find out this March, wait a second, it's not on the list. We didn't
There wouldn't have been
ask-
enough money in ARPA anyway, because to start
Right, 'cause
fiscal
we
year
overspent.
26, we only had
Right, because you told us we had
$31,000 in
1.6 and
ARPA.
we didn't, that's why.
What's
So
that?
we spent 1.6 was what we were told, and then we find out we
No.
didn't have enough. Okay, anyway,
No.
so the
not
money
one.
has to come from somewhere. If we take the 536,000 plus the money for the drone, I believe that wasn't accounted for either. If we take those dollars amount, what dollar amount do you come up with that was not put on the ARPA report that we now have to reimburse ourselves for, from somewhere?
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't know anything about a drone.
Oh, September of '24 was figured on, Mr. McKee knows all about it. So we've got like $600 and some odd thousand that we have to take from what we thought was gonna be paid for by ARPA funds, which are now depleted. We have to move them into something else. So we have, addressing again, 11 and 13 are similar processes. So we put this line item for performance services under courthouse maintenance and repair. And then in 13, we go ahead and use $250,000 of DECO to offset some of those expenses. Is that accurate?
I was not informed anything about a DECO grant. It was not in the estimated revenue.
It's on the agenda, I think you can find it.
That-
Does that sound right?
Christine, I said I don't know where, I was not informed until I read this agenda. When I put out to all department heads of any known revenue they're gonna have so that I can create an estimated revenue. When I read this agenda was the first time that I'd heard anything about DECO. So if it comes in, we put it in a line item in the general fund. But that doesn't really change anything as far as your expenditures because expenditure line items are there. So
Sheriff, is that correct? Is that where you want the $250,000? Is that $250,000 gonna offset some of this $500 and some $1,000 expense?
Courthouse work we can put in for reimbursement through this DCO grant,
So it'll
which
be
was $250,000.
okay, so it'll be kind of a two-part. We'll take care of this first, and then here in a few minutes, we'll go through and hopefully apply the DECO grant to cover some of those costs. Is that correct?
Well, the grant's already been awarded to us. We just have to turn in work and invoices for
Okay.
work
Okay,
against
all
it.
right. So it does offset some of that expense then? Okay.
but it doesn't change the expenditure line item. You don't get a grant in and credit an expenditure line item, so then therefore decrease the expenditures by $250,000. Any grant money that comes in goes into a revenue line item. Any expenditure paid goes out of an expenditure line item. So yes, there's gonna be some revenue coming in, but the budget still has to be budgeted in those, and that amount has to come out of an expense line item.
It might have been handy for you to show up at a budget meeting when you were requested to discuss this. Thank you.
I didn't hear a word you said. I didn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
Julie's
I
got
did
a
not
question.
hear what you said, I'm
Can we
sorry.
get back to the focus, and that's, we have to vote to recode.
There's not an option.
That's what we're here to do, vote to recode, right?
And you voted to recode last month. There was, however many were present, everybody voted yes, one person voted no. You already voted to recode. What I need is a line item to recode it to, so that I can do that and then get money from the general fund back into the ARPA fund, so maybe we'll have some kind of idea of how much money is left in ARPA to cover what has been obligated in the federal government, which is going to be somewhere around, because you've already spent $9,000, there's, I believe, some $5,400, maybe a little more in the bills you're going to pass tonight. So we'll have somewhere around $64,000.
So does anybody in the budget committee know how to resolve this situation? To advise us on what we need to do to resolve this?
She just needs a line item.
Okay, who gets the line item? How do we create that today?
If I may,
Yeah,
I don't want to speak out of turn.
no, you're fine.
What I understand is basically, she is suggesting that this be assigned to the sheriff's line item
Okay.
for courthouse repair and maintenance.
Makes sense.
And then, in number 13, the sheriff is asking for a budget amendment to cover that line item that this is being added to.
Okay.
so then we can vote.
All of those.
It's very simple.
Roll call.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole, Edwards,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Matlock,
Yes.
Yes.
Mitchell, Morse,
Yes.
Stroll,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Wofford, yes, Wallace,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 12, I am asking for discussion and vote to approve the transfer from the general fund. We have a remaining $60,000 of the LATCF money that came in from the federal government a couple years ago. We received $100,000. This also has to be reported to the federal government, but we need to transfer that money to the Social Security Fund. I sent you all the Social Security Fund budget, and we ran out of money in the Social Security Fund with last week's payroll. Right now, there's a due to from the general fund to the Social Security Fund for $8,000. Every payroll from now until, the first to second week of July, when we get our first real estate property tax disbursement, it's just going to increase. The $60,000, would get rid of that money. We can, next March, somebody can finish a final report to the federal government. It's a legal payment with that money, but it'll at least float us, I think, close to the July 3rd payroll, and then hopefully the next week we will have a property tax disbursement, get it into the Social Security Fund, the due to from the general fund to Social Security cleared up, and hopefully it's the last discussion you all ever have about Social Security being bankrupt.
Need a motion.
I make a motion.
Need a second? Now you want to have a discussion about this? Okay.
In budget legislature, we discussed not using LTCF because of the wide variety of things we can use it for. And we planned on using it out of the general fund, reimbursing it after tax time. That was the official decision we made.
What was the decision?
To not use LATCF, to use money from the general fund and then reimburse it after tax time comes. That's what we decided upon.
And then that way, that LATCF funds can stay there, and if something comes up, you can use it for anything.
Yes.
If you deplete it, it's gone.
It's just restricted money in the general fund. It's all general fund money. It's simply restricted money. It's budgeted like everything else. There's a line item out of the general fund for LATCF reimbursement. So either way, it's budgeted in the general fund. Whether you use it for this Social Security or you use it for something else, it's $60,000 that's budgeted out of the general fund. So, you can do what you want. You're the board. But the due to from the general fund is just going to keep increasing and increasing and increasing, probably between $17,000 and $18,000 for every payroll.
I have a question. If budget committee decided to do it that way, is it going to delay the ability for her to have money to make the payment? When did you say that, Ms. Beard?
We continue to make, the Social Security payment, but we pay it out of the general fund. So it's depleting the general fund, which there's not an expenditure out of the general fund to make that payment. So then it creates a due to from. You cannot close a fiscal year with a due to from. It doesn't look good on your books, and as somebody sitting in the public, I don't really like looking at the Social Security Fund, which I have to post online every month. It's one reason I don't have the March reports out, because the ARPA fund is at a negative 137. The Social Security is going to be it's showing a negative 7,700 and some odd dollars. When we get to June and we're putting those reports out on the website, we're going to be at a negative 40-some thousand dollars. And then by July 1st, you're just showing a negative. So it's being paid out of the general fund because it has to be paid. We have to pay the federal government the Social Security that is due. But as that goes on, it's just that negative balance, every time we put it out to the public, is more negative, a greater negative, and a greater negative. I mean, and then yes, it'll be cleared up as soon as the property taxes are dispersed, because we will transfer from the general fund over to the Social Security fund, and it'll go back into the positive because there'll be a, but it's not a good look, but that's, again, you're the board.
I do have something. Go ahead, Ted.
It was my understanding when we started looking at budget fiscal year '26, that Social Security had been short the last few budgets. And we allotted in, I believe, enough for this shortfall when the tax levy come in, or when the taxes come in, to compensate the shortfall it was going to be. That's why the LAT or LACTF, whatever, they didn't want to use it, because there's supposed to be enough coming in on what we set the levy for to cover that.
Yes, and I made it clear back when you transferred the $35,000 for LATCF that it wasn't enough. I gave a pretty clear outline as to when the Social Security fund would be out of money. So, I mean, that's up to you all. If you want to put negative budgets out there and keep going in the negative, I mean, you're the board. You make those decisions. I've made you aware of the problem. I know there's $60,000 sitting there that's restricted. Your choice. Whatever you want to do.
Roll call vote. And if you vote yes, that means you're going to use the LATCF money. No means no, you're not.
Bain,
No.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole, Edwards,
Yes.
Grant,
No.
Gregg,
No.
Hardy,
Yes.
Matlock,
No.
Mitchell,
No.
Morse,
No.
Stroll,
Yes.
Seifert,
No.
Wofford, no. Wallace,
Yes.
Wood, Yanis.
No.
Motion fails. 11 nays, 5 ayes.
Number 13 is the sheriff. Sheriff, do you want to talk about this?
Well, the big thing is we have phase one underway, which is the exterior of the courthouse. We have a contract with Performance Services, and phase one is the $436,424. In December of '25, we had made a payment out of ARPA at that time of $137,739.30. In February 13th, we had another payment due of $72,274.35. It was at that time that we were told, our office was told there was only $63,000 left in ARPA. So we made $63,000 of that payment, what we believed was going to be out of ARPA, and $9,000 out of the courthouse maintenance budget. So if this is getting all recoded, the entire phase one is going to have to be paid for out of courthouse maintenance. And again, the courthouse maintenance budget was only $90,000 to begin with. Now, we've only signed the contract for phase one, which is the $436,424. Phase two was the interior work, fixing all the plaster in the basement, working on the restrooms down there, doing the upgrades, making them handicap accessible. We do not have a signed contract for interior work yet. So, but what I was showing was the entire phase one and phase two. But phase one is the more important one because they've already begun the work and they're going to be finishing up.
So one more time, phase one, we paid how much? How much is the bill?
Well, we've made payments, but if you've recoded those payments, in essence, we've made nothing. I mean, they have to come from somewhere. They have to be moved. So we're going to owe with $436,424 is going to have to come from a budget.
That's after already paying 100 and some thousand.
Well, we did pay, no, that's not after, that would be that 100, the 137,779 and the 72,274 were part of that number. But what I'm saying, if it got recoded and it's not coming out of ARPA, then it has to come out of another line. Yes.
So we have 436,000 roughly. That's what that contract is. You said we had 90,000 that we could put towards that currently?
Well, we have 90,000 for the total courthouse maintenance, but I'm spending that all the time. Anytime we have heating and air come, anytime we have the elevator people, I mean, yeah, that's my general maintenance, for the courthouse.
So if we take the 436 and change and we take off the DECO grant of 250, that gives us a dollar
Hey,
amount.
Christine, let's stop just a minute. We need a motion to accept this. So somebody make a motion. Christine, somebody second it. Okay, Judy. Now we can discuss
Okay.
it.
So we had 436,000 some change was the contract. We've essentially paid zero. We have a $250,000 DECO grant. Subtracting the two, you get what? 186,000, thanks, Chad. So there's about 186 still outstanding for the work that they're finishing now, is that correct?
The one thing I can't tell you is I don't know how fast, when we turn in the bills, when that money from the state of Illinois will get here. Will it get here during this fiscal year? I think so, but I don't know. We've not drawn on any of that grant money yet.
But we have been approved for it.
Yes, it was awarded.
So we're about 186 off then.
Julie?
Well, just based on the questions that was raised during public comment, can legally, and I'm just gonna ask since our council is here, can we amend a negative budget to be more in the negative?
Generally speaking, I haven't looked at this specifically, I don't like giving answers off the cuff.
And I apologize, I'm just before we vote.
Yeah, but generally speaking, I mean, budget amendments are the standard procedure for dealing with unknown expenses and unknown revenues. So, you know, whether it's between departments, line items, appointed to different functions. So my understanding is so long as it does not increase any levies, that it can be amended.
No.
I'm being told that's not true, but like I said, I haven't had a
you're
chance.
a legal counsel.
I
so
haven't had a
that's
chance to
your
research it thoroughly. But that was my general understanding.
So Sheriff, you've said that you've already amended some, put line items to some of this already? Is that what you just said?
No, that was just, sorry.
No,
That
no.
was voted on a minute ago.
No, there were two bills that we thought were paid, but they, I guess at this point, I mean, Performance Services got the money, but they need to be recoded to another line that does
But
not
does
have
that
that.
money go towards that 436, 424 that we owe Performance Services? The money that they've already gotten, does it go towards the 436, 424?
It does, but where's it coming from? We turned the claims in as the ARPA line, the 06061 50560.
I guess I'm so totally confused. If you turned it in and ARPA paid it, how can we say that they didn't know about it and stuff? Can anybody answer that one? Because I'm confused.
I can. If you want me to, I'll answer it.
Christine?
My understanding it was not, even though it was voted on December 24, it was not put on the report. So when the report came out, we had 4.2 million in expenditures, but if there are things that didn't make it to the report, then we spent too much. And when you spend too much, that means a bucket got in too fast. ARPA bucket's here, this is this other bucket, we're trying to, we say this bucket's empty, we gotta pull money out of this bucket to pay these bills. And that is gonna include this DECO grant, which is $250,000. So we're basically, it's taking money from another bucket to pay the bill inside the courthouse. We went, wait a second, that was not the right bucket, let's pull it out of this bucket. So we're authorizing that ability to pull it from the correct bucket once it was recoded.
Do you have plans to do the work inside the courthouse still, or is that some of the stuff that?
We've not signed a contract with them, so that's up to the board, whether you want that inside work done and whether you want to obligate the money for it or not.
But there is no ARPA money to do it.
There
so
is
it would
not
have
ARPA
come
money
out
to do it,
of-
right.
Okay.
And at this point, there's no money in your budget to do it.
There's not, no, unless that full amendment was done.
There is money in the general fund. There is plenty of money in the general fund. There's been stuff, there's line items in the general fund that were way over budgeted. There are line items in that 029 budget that were budgeted last year for $40,000 that we spent $5,000 that then was budgeted up to $60,000 this year. If you go through that line by line and look at it, and there's stuff that can be cut or places to maybe not spend things that aren't absolutely necessary, but you have the entire general fund budget, which I believe is, just the 029 is $1.899 million. So if you look at it hard, there's no reason to amend. And again, last year, you came in at 81% of your expenditures. But then only spending 81% last year, you jumped the budget up this year another, I forget how much it was, $150,000, $300,000. I mean, we're at a $9 million budget. So you had an increase over last year, when last year you only spent $81,000. There are line items in that budget that were increased this year when not even close to what was spent. I mean, there's one with the opioid money. There's $109,000 in that expenditure that last year we spent $1,610 out of opioid.
But that's restricted money.
Yeah,
That is, we can't use it for courthouse maintenance.
Right. You're not using it, but it's money that's in the general fund. And if you don't use it, if this line item goes way over, as long as these line items don't spend what was totally budgeted and the overall budget doesn't go over, there's no reason to
Okay,
amend.
Jeff, your question?
Well, looking at the numbers and listening to discussion, I mean, I would personally be in favor of approving the phase one money of 436, 424, and sending phase two back to the budget committee next month to let them review it, discuss it, bring it. I mean, I don't think we have a time crunch on this phase two work, are we, Brian? I mean, it's not like they're gonna start tomorrow. Right?
No, there's the only thing they said on phase two is if this is something that gets kicked down the road to next year, you can expect that cost will be much, much higher.
Right.
So,
I would just like, the second phase to go back to the budget committee, give them an opportunity to review the whole thing and bring it to the board next month, because we're not in a time crunch for phase
Okay.
two.
Chad?
At the end of the day, the bill's gotta be paid. We just need to approve this one, take it out of the 029 fund, let the budget committee reallocate the money towards the end of the fiscal year and be able to transfer the money on unused monies back into the general fund. We could sit here for the next 5 hours and debate this and nothing is gonna get done. So we just need to call the vote on it and move it on.
Call the vote. Roll call.
Ben?
Yes?
What are we voting on?
To amend the budget and pay the 436.
Okay.
424. That is that part.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
No.
Grant?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Matlock?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Stroll?
Yes.
Seifert?
Yes.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yanis?
Yes.
vote to approve the FY 27 ordinance to allow Effingham County to serve as the grant recipient of the Illinois Department of Transportation funds and public transportation provider for Shelby County. I need a motion.
Excuse me, you also need to rescind the previous ordinance first.
It's not on the agenda. I've got an agenda and I've got to follow this. If it's not here, I can't do it. Okay, need a motion.
I think Judy made the motion.
Judy, who seconded? Christine. Yeah,
Why is this happening?
we don't have anybody do the work, Julie.
Nobody what?
We have no one to do the work.
And that's the P-COM position?
Yes.
We're not gonna try to rehire somebody, keep that?
Effingham has somebody down there that does this work, and they're able to take it. We will not lose any of the services and stuff, so this is the answer to it. Want to do the roll call again?
That's your choice.
Roll call.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hardy. Matlock,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Stroll,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Wallace,
No.
Wood,
Yes.
Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes 13 ayes, 3 nays.
Number 15, discussion and vote to approve the intergovernmental agreement for the county of Effingham and the counties of Christian, Clay, Fayette, Montgomery, Moultrie, and Shelby counties, therein referred to as the participants for the provision of public transportation in said county. Need a motion. Christine and Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All agreed. Okay. Okay. 16 is Tim Brown, discussion and vote to approve the dive team forensic audit done by Binford and Brown in 2024. Prior board action taken June 12th. I think we've already done this once. So I guess we need a motion
I'd like to make a motion.
to approve the
Yes, ma'am.
forensic audit of the dive team. Need a second.
I'll second it. This is just releasing the information. We're not trying to do another audit.
No, you're not trying to do another audit, but you have to approve it to release it.
Right, gotcha. I understand.
No discussion?
There were some things in that audit that I didn't feel like should be in the DICOM audit, and it had to do with some reports that Mr. Hanlon made about supervisor of assessments, Mr. Bain, Alan Spessard, and Board of Review. I don't remember what paragraphs they were, page 3 or 4, but it seemed like that had nothing to do with the audit. It was nothing about the DICE team, it was basically about the grand jury stuff. And for that reason, I would not approve.
The county board voted to have the audit done. The county paid for the audit. Feel very strongly that the audit should be public information. If the public agrees with you that the information in the audit is baloney, that's fine. But the audit should be publicly available information. It was voted upon by the Shelby County Board, and it was paid for by Shelby County. It should be available to Shelby County.
It is in draft form though, so it has to be approved in order to go out.
Yeah, I believe it was already on.
Well, I think it's been released.
It's been released.
Okay, we're gonna do a roll call vote
We're just
again.
gonna vote on it.
Call the vote.
Well,
Go ahead. Well,
there was some things I'll agree, right,
Did
Dodgy, but there's some information in there that, you know, they're trying to assist in, you know, helping keep things solvent, helping, you know, and I think they're just trying to help us do business as we should be doing it.
Madam Chair, call the vote.
We can always say,
We're gonna vote.
He was
Call
saying
for
yes.
vote.
Speaking.
Okay, roll call.
Spain,
I vote not to approve it, not to release it.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole. No. Edwards.
Yeah.
Grant. No. Gregg.
No.
Hardy.
yes.
Matlock.
No.
Mitchell.
No.
Morse.
No.
Stroll.
No.
Seifert.
Yeah.
Wofford. No. Wallace.
Yeah.
Wood. No. Yantis.
No.
Motion fails. 5 ayes, 11 nays.
Moving on to number 18. 17, okay, I already marked it off. Going backwards.
I'm going to keep going.
Okay, discussion and vote of the salary resolution for Shelby County Sheriff to take office on December 1, 2026, as per Public Act 102-0699. The salary of the sheriff to be 80% of the salary set for the state's attorney. Need a motion. Carol and Christine. Is there any discussion today? We're just going to vote. Yes, his is set by statute. It's out of our control what the sheriff is paid. We have to do a roll call.
I mean, it's out of your hands, you can.
All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Now, 18. Discussion and vote on salary setting resolution 50 ILCS 145-2 for the 4-year term of supervisor of assessments to take office on December 1, 2026, as recommended by the Budget Audit and Legislative Committee. I need a motion. Tim, Christine, roll call. Okay. Anybody got any discussions on this one?
I don't know, is this where we discuss it or not, but why was it determined that 2 of the 3 elected departments are going to get raises and 1 is not?
I have some notes. And some of the other members,
Yeah, that's fine, I mean, I can
everybody
go to
could have.
meetings, but I can also ask in this meeting. Why?
Yes,
Why?
but everybody's, should come to these meetings and stuff if they have questions.
Or some people can only come to this meeting, Teresa. You can't tell me no because I didn't come to the
I
meeting.
didn't tell you no. I didn't tell you no.
I have every right to ask that in this meeting.
These were discussed at the meeting, and there was members of the committee that had reached out to some of the other counties and the same people that have these jobs in other counties and told what they made. These people, the supervisor of assessments, Jessica, and the coroner's really been frozen, have not had any kind of a substantial raise in several years. And based on, this one is the supervisor of assessments, it was agreed to that she will get a 9% raise this year. She has a union person working in her office that makes more money than she does.
So is the treasurer.
But that's probably
But
what
that's
happens
part of
when
it,
you're an
that
elected
is part
official.
of it, but she is
You
the
know your
boss.
salary.
So it was agreed to that they would get 9% this year, 2% the following 3 years.
So to those people who, on this board, in this room, said that treasurer should be a CPA, why are you asking me?
I didn't say that.
People have said that. That has been said, you guys, come on, I'm not delusional. It has been said that the treasurer should be a CPA. Why is it then that you're asking a CPA to take less salary
you couldn't get a CPA
You're
to
right,
take
and
these
you're asking
jobs
someone
for
to
that.
take
I've got a
less money
daughter-in-law
now.
who is a CPA.
I understand
And
that,
she
I agree
would
with
take-
you.
I call vote 18,
Okay,
number 18.
So I
Okay,
never
we're
really
good.
got an answer as to why, other than somebody said there was a poll taken with what
I
counties?
didn't take it.
What counties took the poll? The
It's
empty
available
salary poll?
online.
What counties did you poll?
There's a whole bunch of, there's a whole list.
Which
I can't
counties?
tell you at the top of my head, it's in my back.
Which counties? You can tell me every other thing off the top of your head. You can't tell me that.
Find it, if you'd like to know. It's part of the stuff.
Call vote.
Okay, roll call.
Okay. Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards. No. Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hardy,
No.
Matlock,
I'm sorry, yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Morse. Stroll,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Wallace,
No.
Wood,
Yes.
Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes 12 ayes, 4 nays.
Thank you. Okay, number 19, discussion and vote on salary resolution 50 ILCS 145-2 for 4-year term for Shelby County Clerk and Recorder to take office on December 1, 2026, as recommended by the Budget Audit and Legislative Committee. Motion, please. Jeff, Christine.
I'd like to speak to this one if I could. We recently had an election. We had 2 people run for this job. To the best of my knowledge, neither individual said, I will take this job provided I get a big raise. Both individuals wanted this job at base salary. Another point I'd like to make is, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the time. I read in the read-ahead that this money has to be submitted by June, before the June meeting. We should have brought this up in March, or maybe even April, but not May. I mean, we have no time to table this or do research for other counties. And the third point I'd like to make is I put an email out to the board asking everyone to do their research on these positions in other counties. I don't know if anybody was able to do that, but I think if you're making the case where you want the raise, you should make a presentation to us. Show us the visual aids and show us what other counties are paying. And the counties that I did have time to research online, it looks to me like we're already paying enough for both these positions. That is the county clerk and the assessor. And I agree with Julie. We shouldn't be, I think we're paying all 3 of them enough. But we certainly should not pay just the 2 and leave the treasurer out. Thank you, Ms. Chairman.
Roll call vote.
Teresa, I have one thing to say. With the clerk's office, we've added payroll. Elections are getting more and more complicated. I understand that position getting an increase. I don't understand I guess I should have said my point. What did we add to the assessor's position that warrants an increase like we've increased the clerk's? So I'm not opposed to increases. I want to know what has changed to each of these departments that has caused 2 departments to get an increase and 1 not. The assessor's office has not changed their responsibilities at all. The clerk's office has.
And a lot of things added to the clerk's office.
Absolutely.
The assessor's office also has a regimental requirement of education. If Debbie would retire tomorrow, there isn't anybody in here that could step into that position and take that job because they don't have the education.
Never has been.
She took it.
I understand, she's the only one.
Yes.
But anyway, sorry, we're getting away from the point.
Okay.
Vote.
Call the vote.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Cole, Edwards,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hardy,
No.
Matlock,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Stroll,
Present.
Seifert,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Wallace,
No.
Wood,
Yes.
Yantis.
Yes.
Motion passes 12 ayes, 3 nays, 1 present.
Discussion and vote on salary setting resolution 50 ILCS 145-2 for the 4-year term of the Shelby County Treasurer to take office on December 1, 2026, as recommended by the Budget Legislative Committee. Need a motion. Christine and Judy.
I'm going to make a motion to amend this, that we give the treasurer's office the same increase that we've given, percentage of increase that we have the other two.
I'll second that amendment.
Take a vote. You vote on
So
the motion to amend.
Vote on the amendment. The vote
Initially.
on the amendment. Okay, this vote you're going to take is to increase the treasurer's salary. Okay?
The same percentage that we've increased
Yes,
the other two
yes,
departments.
yes. Roll call.
Bain,
No.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
No.
Hardy,
Yes.
Matlock,
No.
Mitchell,
No.
Morse,
No.
Stroll,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Wallace,
No.
Wood,
No.
Yantis.
No.
It's time.
Oh shoot, what do we do now?
Motion
You want to arm wrestle, Teresa?
No.
Fails on a tie, right?
I don't,
Fails on a tie, I'm pretty sure.
does it fail on a tie?
I think before we done that motion, I think they should have broke out into discussion on why that was held at the same pay rate. We just jumped right into a motion with no explanation.
Okay, we
why
can
they
go
froze it.
backwards, we can go backwards.
So I think we need to open this up and have a discussion on why it was chosen to keep that at that pay rate, before we make a motion.
We do that. Okay, we're gonna go backwards. We had a motion and a second. Now we're gonna have discussion, okay,
Thank you.
on why the salary was more or less frozen. Okay, does anybody have any comments? Christine?
I have one. This is a phone call I had today with Don DeBolt. He asked me to read this exactly verbatim. During discussion regarding treasurer's salary, I pointed out that because a significant portion of duties have been transferred to the clerk's office, it is not logical to then reward the treasurer with a pay raise. End of quote.
That's from the person that's going into the office.
He's going to be in the office potentially 4 years. We're talking about a 5-year increase. I mean, and
It's
it's
just
just
one.
now,
It's
he may
just
only
one.
be in the office 2 years.
It's one term, 4 years.
4 years.
4 is not 5.
Anybody else got any comments?
I tried.
Treasurer wasn't making more when
Want to do it again? Tim?
My whole reasoning was the fact that there is less workload. If you base what people are getting paid by how much work is done. That's why
treasurer's office has fewer employees and
How many employees do we have in there, 2 now?
treasurer wasn't making more when she did payroll.
Chrissy asked how many employees are in the treasurer's office.
I have 1 full-time and 1 part-time. Because when I got rid of payroll, I cut down an employee and only replaced with a part-time.
That's what I was gonna ask. was if you have the same amount of people.
No, I
Okay.
decreased. And
So
two
you,
of us that are
so you
full-time,
decrease,
that's our butt.
so you decrease from 2 full-times to a full-time, part-time,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna do it again.
I do have one more question. If we vote to keep it, the treasurer's position does not get a raise. What happens next year if, can it be reevaluated?
No, they're only done every 4 years.
So if something would happen to our treasurer,
That's the next
like
treasurer
that
gets
person
that
is stuck
salary.
at that salary.
We've ran into that with the coroner.
Exactly, like, and that's,
Yep. Anybody else got anything? Roll call again.
No.
Yeah. We're gonna vote. If you vote yes, you're voting to increase the salary for the treasurer as we did for the clerk and the,
We just voted on the amendment, and it tied.
yeah, but we had a discussion. I don't know if anybody's changed their mind.
Can we re-vote?
No.
Okay, go back to the original motion. The original motion and second was as presented on the agenda.
Okay, we're gonna vote now to freeze the treasurer's salary. The original that's on the agenda, okay?
To raise it.
To freeze it.
freeze it.
Freeze it, freeze it where it
So
is.
if you vote yes, you're voting to freeze.
Freeze it.
Yes.
Okay. So if you vote not to freeze it, that means
You vote
that we can amend it later, or we can't because
That
it's
means that
still
there's
4 years.
no salary setting resolution in place.
Yeah.
And it has to be done by June
Okay.
1st.
The yes vote means that you're going to vote to freeze the salary for the treasurer.
Well,
You're not gonna
You're
get
not
an
getting an
increase.
increase.
you're voting to approve the salary setting resolution that you guys were presented with.
Yes, yeah.
Township level, you cannot raise your salary after you took office.
Well, they can't on this one either, so that's why it's being
It's
fixed.
4 years.
Every 4 years.
so are you saying if we don't pass it, then we're not meeting it for anybody, or just this position?
Just this.
It would just be this position,
This position.
Okay, now I have a
because you guys have already voted.
And then what are the consequences of not having that done?
They don't have a salary.
Well, they would have.
Yeah.
Same problem we had with coroner.
It's the same thing happened to the coroner. They
Right.
changed it.
Okay, can we amend it again, because for the 4 years, the salary is exactly the same?
Yes.
Can we amend it the first year, whatever it is, but then every year after that can get the same increase as the other offices? Can we do that?
Why would we do that? Why wouldn't we just give it the increase the whole 4 years?
Well, we could, but can we do that?
I am confused.
Okay, let's-
as
Let's just vote on something.
So we're back to the
I voted it's
keep the salary the same for the next 4 years.
Yes.
For at least the 3 years, the cost of living increase on the second, third, and 4th year.
Go ahead.
I was curious, just how many employees does the county clerk have?
I now have 3.
Okay, and does, what the amount of hours, is the county clerk a larger amount of
Yes.
hours than?
I generally work 8 hours a day. I mean, I don't normally take a lunch and, yeah.
And you would come to the elections and take a lot more time.
Yeah. Okay.
Call the vote.
Okay.
Bain.
Yes, to keep it what the resolutions are.
Brown.
Yes.
Cole. Edwards.
No.
Grant.
Yes.
Gray. Hardy. Matlock.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Morse. Stroll.
No.
Seifert.
Yes.
Wofford.
No.
Wallace.
Present. Confused.
Wood.
Yes.
Yantis.
Present.
Okay, we've got 10 ayes, 4 nays, 2 present.
So passed.
So passed.
Okay, number 21, discussion and vote to the salary setting resolution for the 2-year unexpired terms of Shelby County Coroner to take office on December 1, 2026, as recommended by the Budget Audit and Legislative Committee. Need a motion. Christine and Judy. Okay, now we want to have some discussions about this. Has anybody got questions? Well, she didn't, this should have been done 2 years ago.
Okay, now, let's make this a little less confusing.
Please.
So this is gonna be, you've already set the salary,
Yes,
and
yes,
it's being raised also,
yes.
or it's,
Yes, because you remember when our coroner passed away and this lady
Oh, yeah. Okay.
stepped in, she's worked the last 2 years without an increase. So has it been 4 years since that?
That office hasn't been increased in probably 20-plus years.
it hasn't been increased in 20-plus years?
It's probably not. It's considered a part-time position, but it still hasn't been increased in, yeah.
It's a part-time position, but she's on call
That's right.
24/7, right?
Yes.
Look what they have to do.
Okay, ready to vote?
Vote.
Bain.
Yes.
Brown.
No.
Cole.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Matlock.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Stroll.
Yes.
Seifert.
Yes.
Wofford. Yes. Wallace.
No.
Wood.
Yes.
Yantis.
Yes.
Motion passes 14 ayes, 2 nays.
Discussion and vote to appoint Walt McCoskey, Gary Poole, Patricia Tate Hendrickson to the Ethics Committee. Need a motion. Jeff and James. Okay, Julie, go ahead.
Can I ask why these are not under chairman appointments?
Well,
The statute just says, I just wondered, because it says that they'll be appointed by the chairman, and so I just,
he more or less did this, but we had affidavits that we had to have signed and stuff.
and those have been
Yes.
done? Okay. Also, was there discussion at all, how did we go about picking these people?
Walt and Gary Poole were on it prior, and Patricia had to be a Democrat, so I had to find a Democrat.
Okay,
By-
I just am curious because I sent a FOIA asking for information on how, any discussion or any, and I never got a response to my FOIA. So I'm just wondering how that discussion was had without any response to a FOIA.
Did that go to me?
Yeah. You got one more day.
That Walt was on it before, and then there was a judge that was on it before, Kyle, who was on it, and he moved.
So Walt just assumed he would be on it again?
No, I talked to Walt.
Okay.
I did not talk to Gary Poole, but I talked to Patricia Hendrickson to confirm that she's willing to do this.
Okay.
And they filled out the affidavits, so, okay?
Yeah, that FOIA was sent Monday.
Okay,
Um,
yes, sir,
Patricia Hendrickson,
yes.
is she the one that in public body comment said something like she put her parents in the nursing home and somehow
She
really-
put her husband in the nursing home and he was in hospice and he passed yesterday.
and then put it on Erica and said, Erica, you should step down, kind of put it all together. Is that the?
That was her comment.
That was her public body comment?
That was her comment. Okay? Okay. Motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Discussion and vote to appoint Assistant State's Attorney Gina Vonderhyde as the Ethics Commission Advisor. Need a motion? James and Larry. Okay. Do we have any discussions on this one? Otherwise, I'm going to vote. Have I got any? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Committee reports. Have any reports that anybody wants to talk about? Sheriff, you want to talk about the car that you sold?
It wasn't my car.
It was your car. But we did have
But we did put out
a sealed
bid
bid
notice
for
for you.
the car, and the man has paid for it, and he should have the title, because I signed it today.
Okay.
Okay?
Cooperative Extension Advisory Board had their meeting. It was very informative. What they're trying to do now is try to figure out how to outreach the older people. 4-H is big, and now they're trying to figure out how to reach everyone with all the other opportunities that they're able to put out in the company.
Anything else, anybody? Well, the finance committee met and paid the bills, I can tell you that.
That's a good thing.
The highway department met, and we paid the bills out there too. We paid a lot of bills out there. So, that's the only ones I'm on, that's the only things I'm on. Chairman and correspondence, we've got thank yous here that was sent from the Illinois Extension to the board, and Powerhouse sends a thank you too. So, we got those. Okay, we're gonna do chairman appointments. Tri-County Fire, Mark Wolf, trustee, 3 years. Can we do them all at one time? Tim Morris to Finance Committee, Chad Yanis to Budget, Audit, Legislative Committee to replace Grant, and Judy Wood to Public Safety Committee, Christine Matlock to the Farm Committee, and Tim Morris and Teresa Bain, Jeff Gregg. We're on a special committee for the FOP for a grievance procedure. Been on this board years, and it's the second one of these I've had to sit in.
Is this the one that, is this the meeting that I attended the
No,
other day?
this is the FOP, this is the sheriff's department.
Oh,
So, all in favor of these appointments? Motion, Carol, Christine. All in favor,
Could
guys?
we do some discussion?
Okay, go ahead.
Judy Wood, the Public Safety Committee, I don't, I'm sure she's here, I don't know Judy Wood, I wouldn't know if I saw her.
She's on
She'll sit right there.
She's on right there.
Yeah, but I still don't know who she is.
Raise your hand, Judy.
Hi, Judy. Oh, yes, I saw you at the blood drive. Okay.
You're good, you're good.
Why was Julie Edwards removed from the Public Safety?
that's a question only the chairman can answer.
I can't answer that, I'm not the chair.
Okay.
Okay? Any other discussions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, old business?
I have some old business.
Okay.
If you haven't heard enough from me, you're going to hear some more. I want to thank the clerk and the treasurer for bringing to attention the, in my opinion, waste, fraud, and abuse that happened with the PCOM position. They brought it to the state's attorney's attention in October of '25. There was so much going on that I'm afraid had they not brought it up, it would still be going on to this day. But to that fact, I don't know how many people have looked at the expenses from the PCOM position. We've had that position in this county for many years, and never hardly had any expenses. In 8 months, we spent almost $40,000. And let me tell you what, I sent an email out to the Finance Committee. I asked about oversight several months ago in a different department of the Finance Committee, and I was removed from that committee. I don't know why, I mean, I'm just asking. I also voted no to make the PCOM position a salary position. Hang on, now of course my thing's not gonna work. And I was then removed from the Public Safety Committee. So I'm not saying it's a coincidence, but if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it might be a duck. So I sent out an email after looking at some of these expenses to the Finance Committee, asking why these expenses were approved. Some of the expenses include Starlink mobile internet, Starlink internet, a ChatGPT subscription, mileage that was never part of I mean, if there's a training or something like that, I understand mileage. But driving routes was never part of the job description. I had to stop looking at the receipts because I became so angry. There was a case of copy paper, a home copier, all these things that were available within this courthouse that could have been used. But again, a laptop, maybe a notebook, a desktop that was turned on one time in 8 months. All this got through the committee, and I don't get that because that is our job, is oversight. And nobody asked a single question. I confirmed with CEFS. Why would they need ChatGPT? Why would they need an Apple computer or Apple Cloud? Nothing. They don't need it. So why did we spend money? And before I hear it's a grant, when this grant is reviewed and all these unnecessary expenses are shown, they may not reimburse us. And that falls to the taxpayer. I'm not a legal expert in any way, but that was waste, fraud, and abuse that we hear of every day on the news. I don't know that those things were inventoried when she resigned, when this position was resigned. But when we talk about the PCOM position now going to Effingham, this is why. This is why. Because all this was allowed to happen right under our noses. I mean, if somebody came to me and said, I need mobile Starlink internet to the tune of $700, I think I would ask why. And I've asked the state's attorney if there's what her opinion is, if there's a legal option that we have to try to get recouped some of this money. Because I just don't, and I sent out the email to the Finance Committee, Carol, you're on the Finance Committee, I live in your district, you're my rep. I didn't get a reason.
I don't know if I got the email. I don't know what the.
How are we not getting emails that go to our county email?
I don't know.
It didn't say FOIA on it, it just had questions. It didn't say FOIA on it.
But I mean, do we have to FOIA to get an answer?
Some of us do, some offices. But you know, Julie, to accuse somebody.
I'm not
of fraud-
accusing, I said in my opinion. And that is not, there's facts, there's receipts. There are receipts.
The fraud part of it that I have been talked to about it and stuff, about the mileage, the hours and stuff like that. Nobody knows what this person did because she worked from home. And a lot of people.
That means no oversight. She had no direct supervisor. No oversight.
Do you know how many people work from home? That's just what I'm saying.
I know this position is an IDOT position that requires 20 hours a month.
Supposedly. And
By
a
IDOT, the people who
new
write the
employee You can't expect a new employee to go in and know how to do this job. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, and I think people better be
We'll give her the
real,
benefit of the doubt.
real careful about what you
However,
accuse people of.
not a single grant was submitted. The July 25 grant was submitted by Beth Martz the day after, or the day she resigned.
Who did them the prior 2 or 3 years? Prior to that? Who did them? Who did the grants?
The
Why?
treasurer's office did them.
No, they didn't. They weren't done. That's why we were in
Okay,
trouble.
even still,
That's
we
why we were in trouble.
paying someone to do it.
Point of order on this.
We were paying
We're
someone
just
to
bickering
do
back and
it.
forth.
Yeah, let's move
If this is going to turn into an investigation, we need to quit putting speculation out there because you're tainting a possible investigation.
Fine.
Let's move on.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of the claims.
I'll speak.
Make a motion to pay the bills. Jeff? Second?
I'll say,
James? Okay.
whatever.
Roll call.
Teresa Banks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards,
Nope.
Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hardy, Matlock,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Stroll,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Yanis.
Present.
Motion passes, 14 ayes, 1 present, 1 nay. Edwards.
Okay. Public body comment. You only get one time.
No.
No.
No, one before and one after. I think you only get one.
No,
One
Chad
after.
is allowed one before and one after.
We've always allowed one before and one after.
Okay. I don't think that you have spoken, so.
Okay. I'm Beth Marks, I'm with CEFS, and I think IDOT made it pretty clear that the ordinance and intergovernmental agreements prior had to be rescinded. And I reminded Tad a couple times, I don't know why they weren't on here, but we're probably gonna have to revisit this next month. Because I don't think you can have two conflicting
Unfortunately,
open ordinances.
I didn't
and-
get notification until the agenda had been sent out and posted.
Okay, so we'll probably have to revisit that again next month. And comments about reports and stuff not being done prior to this current PCOM, they were always done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You only get one.
No, you don't.
Your
That's-
policy says twice. Read your policy.
Chad allows one before and one after.
Okay, Martha, go.
Thank you. To those of you that voted for the treasurer's position to get a pay raise, thank you. Because too many of you have made that position about the person that's in it that you don't like, and you're just saying is abundantly clear. But to those of you that voted for it, thank you. You can read Don DeBolt's statement he put out on public Facebook, social media, that he intends to retire after 2 years, and then what he do. And he did put it. I've got it, the screenshot, Christine, so you can shake your head no. I want you all to know that when the treasurer took office 8 years ago, there were 3 full-time employees in that department. One resigned. It wasn't refilled. She had 2 full-time people because that department was doing the responsibility of payroll, which was to be done in the clerk's department. When it got moved to the clerk's department, she went from 2 full-time to 1.5 full-time. You have now just made the treasurer's department in Shelby County, Illinois, the only position in the county employee, that got 0 pay raise. Y'all just voted to pass the union contracts, gave the majority of the employees in this county 17 to 20% pay raises. You just gave the assessor and the clerk, who, in my opinion, deserve it. Those 3 positions went at least 10 years, if not 12 years, with 0. Y'all, we live in the state of Illinois. Gas tax is going to 46 cents, 7.1. Would you all sit in a job for 5, 6, 7 years if your employer told you, sorry, you're frozen, cost of living is going through the roof, especially in the state of Illinois. But you, guess what? You get nothing. Who do you think we're going to get to come into that position or run for election? It is absolutely ridiculous, and you did it out of disdain for a person and not the position, and it's sick. And to your comment about Debbie having a union employee that makes more than she does, The one full-time employee in that department makes more than she does. So that argument just fell flat on its face. It's disgusting. For those of you that keep going, call the vote, call the vote, you don't do it when the people you like are talking. You do it when the people you don't like. That was so rude what you did to Mr. Hardy. You did the same thing to Julie. You don't do it when the people you like are talking, and it's abundantly obvious that you're playing favorites. You are here to represent the people. If all you do is call to vote and you don't have discussion, this is where we, the taxpayers, find out what you're thinking, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. And if you refuse to have discussion, how do we know what's going on? And for those of you that voted to not put the dive team audit out there, the taxpayers paid for it. It came out of our pockets. We deserve to know what is in that audit. And the last thing I want to say, just because money comes into this county that's grant money is taxpayer money. That's the money that comes out of our paychecks that goes to Washington, and then some of it comes back. It's taxpayer money. We don't have a tree somewhere dropping Benjamins to just pay for all of this. So to think, well, it's a grant, we can do whatever we want, or we can have fraud, or we can have waste, or we can have abuse. And by the way, a PCOM position gets $42,000 a year for a 20-hour-a-month position, and you all voted to give that position IMRF and health benefits.
There was no vote, it was just done.
Health benefits for 20 hours a month. Did anybody go talk to our health provider? You have to average 32 hours a week to be eligible for the health insurance. But it was just handed to her on a silver platter. Julie, thank you. Thank you for standing up and asking for oversight, because what's going on right now, you guys are going to bankrupt the county. I'm telling you, you're going to bankrupt the county. Comment?
Chad?
I was a part of the negotiations for the Aspen employees, and I can understand where some of the taxpayers, it seemed concerning that the quote-unquote amount of raise that they received. However, this board didn't do it. I believe it was the previous board didn't do it. It was in fact the board before that that took ARPA funds and made them a part of an hourly paid salary, which there was instructions from ARPA that was never supposed to be done like that. So when they took us to basically an arbitration, they won that. I didn't give them that pay raise. This board didn't give them that pay raise. 2 boards ago did. As far as the other salaries that were approved or not approved, that was never done in time for 2 years ago in the election. But now somehow that's our fault to try to make that difference up. I disagree with that. We're trying to do what's right for the majority. And if it rubs some of you the wrong way, I apologize for that. But we're trying to make it right. Excuse me? This is my time, Martha. You can shut up. You know, union contracts, the negotiations are supposed to be done at a certain time. We left our ASPE and our FOP hang out there 9 months without a pay raise. We had to go back and back pay them. How's that right? But we got it taken care of. But yet here we are getting crapped on for what we're trying to do to try to make things right with the employees and get it caught back up. That's all I got to say.
Tammy, go ahead. Tammy. Go ahead.
So, I'm Tammy Smith. I just want to speak for the Supervisor of Assessment's office for a moment. Not for that office, but from what I understand, there used to be a tax assessor in every township. No one, I think there are only, what, 2 or 3 now?
There's not very many because a lot of the townships.
And Debbie does it. She puts her life online at some of those places that she has to go and assess. She's been chased by dogs. She's been called all kinds of names. And she has a lot of knowledge, and when we lose her, we're gonna be in big trouble. That is just all I have to say about that. The other thing that I would like to say is that a lot of accusations are being thrown around here, and I look on Facebook and I see people making comments about Mr. DeBolt's ability to do his job, to be our treasurer, should he be elected. And the man's mind, he's got it all going on. So when you speak negatively about someone's handicap, that might be a little libelous. And there have been some other comments on Facebook recently about business people that have nothing to do with their role in our county government that could also be not without consequence. So, y'all are here to serve us. We pay your salaries, we pay for this building, we pay every elected official's salary, every employee's salary. All we want is for you to do your jobs, be respectful, and treat people the way you want to be treated. I have been in this courtroom more in the last 3 years than I ever have in my life. Well, that's probably a good thing. But I've listened to the back and forth and the back and forth and the back and forth. And I have to tell you, as a taxpayer, the only thing that I want elected officials to do is their jobs. That's all I want as a taxpayer in this county. And when we have something to say, it needs to be treated respectfully and with consideration. You know, there was a push to sell our farm. Why? It didn't need to be sold. There are influences here that have some people's ears, and they need to be gone. That's all I have to say.
May I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Marcia White, taxpayer. Haven't been here in a while, had a little health issues. I want to thank the ones who tried to hold the ground today. We should be ashamed of ourselves in Shelby County. We are letting graft, corruption, fraud go on and not doing anything about it. And I want to commend the ones who tried standing their ground. I appreciate you as a taxpayer. I appreciate you as a person. So, you know, folks, the things that are getting caught now are the fraud. And we are going to see a day, and if not on this earth, you will pay a price before the Lord when you stand before Him and you have not done correctly. Please come to your senses and do what's right. You're here to represent the people, not your vested interests. Thank you. Oh, crap.
Jay, go ahead.
So, my name's Jay Cole, as I think you all know. I still have some information on my phone I took directly off of the website. At the end of September 2023, our balance in funds was, it would be the end of August 2023, our balance in funds on 8/31 was $26,311,398.52. At the beginning of the following month, for the same date of 8/31/23, our balance was $25,813,721.23. So for the same day, the end of August and the beginning of September, this was off short $497,000. So do you think that sounds good, Julie? So this went on and on for months and months. I suppose out of maybe 24 months, the ending balance for a month and the beginning balance of the next month were only correct maybe 4 or 5 times. They were all 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, 10,000. But hardly ever were they correct. At the end of the same fiscal year of 2023, I believe I could find it on my phone, where we had $14 million taken care of by our county treasurer, earning less than 1%. I don't believe that's really a good way to run an office. Now, it may be. And another thing, I've heard for several years now accusations from Erica, Martha, and Kirk Allen about all the corrupt people in Shelby County. The only problem with this is no one's been proven to be corrupt. My wife's she's never done anything illegal in her life intentionally. She doesn't have any criminal intent. I know almost everyone in here now personally. Some of them know them for years. There's no criminal intent from anyone. They can't prove it because there isn't any. They can't take it to court because they can't win. They've tried that, but it didn't work. They've tried that a couple different times. So until you can prove criminal intent, that's with any government official, unless you can prove criminal intent, nothing means anything. So I think the sheriff would back me up on that. Because if you don't have criminal intent, you might as well keep your mouth shut. There's no use to go around accusing judges and the court system of being crooked or anyone else of committing some malfeasance if you can't prove anything. So another thing, I drive by the courthouse almost every day. Not every day, but a lot of days, and go eat at least. So the firm that's been doing the work on the courthouse, since they began, they've been dry sawing concrete and creating silica dust. I've seen the employees breathe it. I've seen it come into the bin on the courthouse. I've seen the walls covered with it. I believe there was so much of a problem in one office that the girls had to leave and go home in the probation office because there was so much dust in it. I explained that to the sheriff one day. I never did see anything change. I think you have someone that may be real incompetent if that's the way they're running their business, or at least that's the way I read the rules. So I don't really take much stock in all these accusations until some can be proven. Thank you.
Just a minute, Carol. Go ahead.
And I'm going to read an email that I sent to the full board on April 29th, because I'm going to back up what Julie said. County board members, on October 9, 2025, Jessica and I met with the state's attorney to discuss several serious concerns regarding discussions, timesheets, and claims submitted by the part-time PCOM employee. Unfortunately, following that initial meeting, the issues not only persisted but worsened. At the very next board meeting, the employee was granted a significant salary increase without any discussion of the concerns we had raised. And by the way, she went to over $43,000. On January 5th, 2026, a second meeting was held with the state's attorney, Board Chairman Tad Mayhall, Jessica, and myself. During this meeting, documentation was provided, and it was clearly advised that mileage claims needed to cease immediately. There were also concerns raised about the employee failing to fulfill required job duties while spending substantial time on tasks outside the scope of her responsibilities. Jessica requested a closed session so that you, the full board, could be made aware of the very serious concerns. However, that request was denied. You were not made aware because of one person's decision. Following this meeting, there was still no corrective action. Mileage claims continued and required duties remained incomplete. On April 15th, 2026, I requested another meeting with the state's attorney, Jessica Tadd, and invited Julie because it was time that somebody on the board knew, and Julie had prior experience with CEFS and was the board member that was appointed to that at one point. Given that prior meetings had not resulted in action or broader board awareness, I believed including a board member would help ensure appropriate escalation. This meeting lasted approximately an hour and 15 minutes. It was collectively determined that a special board meeting should be called to fully inform the board of the seriousness of the situation and to include an agenda item for a vote on termination of the employee. That employee was afforded the right to resign before they left. I have questions. Who is responsible? Because Jessica and I went through and inventoried everything that we paid for. $5,411 and some odd cents, as Julie said, for a desktop that was turned on once, a laptop, $710 for internet. Only employee in Shelby County that works from home. No other employee in Shelby County works from home. No oversight. Christine, that you signed off and approved a claim where there was $462.91 where there is no receipt. CEFS has been asking for that receipt from October, was emailing the PCOM asking from October, still emailing and requesting the same documentation on March 31st. And then when that person resigned, Jessica and I were asked for those receipts. So I put my name on a check because you brought before this board and my name went on a check. These board members' names went on a check where there was no receipt provided. We paid and Carol, you approved this one, $129.30 in late fees and interest because that said employee couldn't even turn in her credit card statement every month so that it could be paid. So taxpayers are paying $129 and some odd cents for late fees and interest. If I would have turned in a claim late with interest to pay, it wouldn't have been paid. The preferential treatment was insane, and just so you all know, I did call for a criminal investigation. The sheriff turned it over to the state police. But whether it's $18,000 in Shelby County, Illinois, or $18 million in Minnesota, it doesn't matter. Because we are the taxpayers, and we're sick and tired of having our money taken out.
That's enough, you're done.
That wasn't 5 minutes.
Yes, it was.
First of all,
We'll time it.
I don't need to be yelled at anymore.
I'm not yelling. I am irritated as a taxpayer. I am not yelling. I am irritated.
Done.
Sit down.
None.
And you're not going to be treasurer anymore.
Great. I'm glad.
Me too.
Okay, go ahead, Carol.
Oh, you guys will be real glad when I don't know if board members are aware that Keith McCormick has not been to a meeting since last June. When Charlie Davis was on the board, the Shelby County GOP had a fit because Charlie didn't show up for 3 months. He was working at the prison at night and couldn't show up. He finally resigned. Why isn't the Shelby County GOP concerned about Heath now not showing up for his district? Those people are not getting representation from him.
Have you reached out
because
to the
he's not
GOP?
been- Pardon me?
Have you reached out to the GOP?
This is comment, guys.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, well now Ross isn't the chairperson anymore, it's Christie. And I will make one comment about what Erica said. We went through finance about fees on credit card. If you don't pay those fees, it just goes to the next month and you're paying more fees. Okay, if you don't pay off your credit card, why don't you pay off your credit card and get it over with?
Okay, Christine.
I'd like to address a couple things. Erica saying it's my fault that got paid. The way it works in finance committee is the bills get submitted to Jessica. Jessica, please stop me if I get this wrong because I don't want you to do it. They submit it to Jessica for reimbursement. She prints up a form, who it's to, what it's for, etc. And then paper clips on the back. She usually staples together the claim forms if there's more than one page, She paper clips on the back, and sometimes it could be one page, sometimes it could be, what was it, Clay, the other day? 10 or 15 for some, envelopes, all sorts of stuff. So it goes from the claimant, whoever turned in the claim, it goes to Jessica, it goes in a folder. She prepares that wonderfully for the meeting. Some departments are really, really good, some departments aren't so good. You never know what you get, you just go with it. She turns it in, it's in a folder by department. It comes in, Teresa, we all sit around the room, Teresa gives us all a folder. When we get done, if we have questions, we ask each other. That is the theme of the meeting, and that's the way it should be. If you have a question about a bill or something doesn't add up, it's not at all uncommon for us to call someone. Julie was on finance before, is that not true? We call and ask. We call and ask for clarification. If something didn't seem right, we call and ask that person. And sometimes they would have forgotten something. Sometimes it's a miscalculation. So the claims go from the person to Jessica, to the folder, to Teresa, to Clay, right? It went to Clay first, and then it went to me. And then it went back to Teresa, it went to Jessica, and ended up with Erica to pay the claimant. Now, to accuse me personally of accepting that, I think is a little hinky, because the law of averages is not there. Because yesterday, did we or did we not, Clay, call about a $15.12 bill from Ace Hardware? We did. See him shaking his head? Yes. Is it possible that we are human and we missed one? You bet. Is it possible that if we saw something missing, we would have asked? You bet. Come to a finance meeting and see how it works. So that squells that accusation down. As far as PCOM, I was not involved in that, but I do know it is a grant. You're correct. It is a grant. And that is those items that were purchased belong to CFS. They're not county property. So that's one thing to be said. It is my understanding it was all received and returned. All that stuff, whatever was purchased, should go back to CFS because it belongs to them. Now, as far as the CFS audits from before, my understanding was that the reason that they were having problems with IDOT is because we were behind on our audits, and that is not my fault. So it makes it, and I don't know Beth. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. She seems to know what she's talking about. If she had to do the paperwork, I'm sorry, but I didn't have control over that. That's not my deal. But I do know that Effingham is not behind on their audits, and it was much easier when these problems arose with their audits being late to turn it over to Effingham. Beth is shaking her head. Am I correct?
It is correct. The problem with the grant audit, the FY24, basically, as IDOT has said, they are not going to approve the FY27 grant application for Shelby County as the grantee until that FY24 audit is complete.
Thank you.
We do not know when that is going to be.
Thank you.
So you risk, because there's not enough funds in the PTA account to carry the services without a guaranteed grant, you risk shutting down transportation services for 6 counties.
Correct. So she's
the only way we could get this done by July 1st was to go with Effingham because they already are an established grantee. It would take 1 to 2 years to get another county established as a grantee. So it was kind of a Hail Mary to talk Effingham into it so that Shelby County, Christian, Clay, Fayette, Montgomery, and Moultrie County did not get any shutdown of services at all. It is to keep public transportation going.
Okay. So follow up to that. So she just told us it would take 1 to 2 years to get somebody caught up today. I did not do that. I was not responsible for that. None of us on the board were responsible for that. You try to get someone to do it. We had 2 applicants. 2. It's wonderful, I think, that Effingham is caught up on their audits and such. And if they can handle it, great. I think that's pretty much it. I think that pretty well covers it.
You're out of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kirk, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. 3 sentences. Ms. Worry, I believe you'll be familiar with these because when you first came in office, you guys used this to do it properly. It's on the budget out of the county code. Further appropriations barred. After the adoption of the county budget, no further appropriations shall be made at any other time during such fiscal year except as provided in this division. Appropriations in excess of those authorized by the budget in order to meet an immediate emergency may be made. Takes a 2/3 vote to do it. That's how you do a proper budget amendment. it has to be an emergency. This was no emergency. It was identified, the money is you have the money. You didn't need a budget amendment. But nobody's reading the statutes. It's 3 sentences. It's not rocket science.
Are you giving us legal advice?
Chairman, would you call point of order, please?
Please, Jay, please.
I challenge you to prove me wrong. I'm just reading the statute. You don't need to be a lawyer to read it. When you talk about amendments, there's a reason the law is what it is. You made a contract with your taxpayers. This is all you're going to spend. You broke the contract with them. That's why elections have consequences. So be it. When it comes to compensation resolutions, under 50 ILCS, it outlines the requirement for the county boards and other units of government to set that amount 180 days prior to their term of office beginning. It's an obligation you have. Now, a recent AG opinion, if you don't do it, it stays at what it was. Although there is a county, they set a resolution that had an expiration date. That means when they didn't do the second one, that old resolution expired. Those people shouldn't be getting paid. As far as budgets and levies, your budget amendments have nothing to do with your levy. The word levy is nowhere in the budget section on the county code. Powers and duties of the county board are in the statute. Read them. If you read them, you may not have all these issues. What happened with Christine, you speaking to things, and the PCOM person from Effingham, and I'm not sure if that's your title over there, that is problem resolution. That's how it works. That's how you solve problems. But I find it interesting. You didn't shut them down, Chairman, like you did when other people tried to interact. You directed them, no, this is not the time for that. You can't have 2 standards and not have people get upset. You need one set of standards. When you don't answer questions, and I have said this for years in this courthouse and in many others, when people ask a question and you refuse to answer it, you have forced that person to make an assumption. And that assumption may be right, it may be wrong. But why do that when you can provide the answer? That's why there's also a county code that requires you to have a time in every meeting for citizens and employees to ask questions. It's a specific statute separate from public comment. It's not part of the Open Meetings Act. And the legislative purpose was so the people and employees can get answers to questions. I know it's tough. I know it's tough, Jake. We just ask, read the law and follow it. It's really simple. The budget amendment you just did was not an emergency. You violated the statute. That's all I got. Actually, I have one more thing. I'm glad Ms. Cole brought it up. Contacting the appropriate political party regarding vacancies or someone not showing up to meetings. Learn the difference between shall and may. The law says the chairman shall notify the political party when there's a vacancy, the chairman of that party. Why has your chairman not done that when you've had vacancies? They haven't contacted any of them.
The chairman hasn't,
Right.
but I always contact them.
I have, Jessica, I have no doubt, but the chairman is not doing it. But nobody's concerned about it. Anybody have any questions for me? I'll be happy to answer them. No? No?
Yeah, no. You got 22 seconds.
I'm good, thank you.
Ruth?
Still public body comment, correct?
Yes.
I just
Go
like
for
to,
it.
thank you. I just like to respond to an accusation that was actually made against myself at the beginning of this meeting regarding using private email for county business. I do not use my private email for county business. I received a FOIA request regarding emails that happened to come through county business, my private email. I provided the single email that I could find in a search of my private email account was provided in response to that FOIA. And that was one that was sent to me. So for the record, I just want to state that I do not use my private email for county business. If you know of other emails, please share them with me. I'd love to see them.
We will.
Okay, perfect.
Christine second. All in favor? Aye.
I third and I like it.
But I just want to say, you were sent all the emails that I had. If you have them, I don't have them, so you can send them to me. I don't know who you have. I don't have them. I don't know who you're looking for. Be quiet, I'm talking, I'm talking.
No, you don't.
Well, if you already have them, why do you want them from me? Let me take care of it.
I think the reason when we get them directly from you, that's called authentication.
But I don't have any emails other than the ones Jessica sent you.